Hello and welcome everybody. It is time tonight for RST, time for Monza, time for lots of awesome driving. I'm glad you're joining me out here in this RST sponsored broadcast. It's wonderful being around once again. Had a little bit of a break, but now joining me here in the broadcast booth as always is Josh. How are you doing?
Yeah, hi chaps.
Fantastic being back around here. Obviously, some of you might already know me. My name is Niklas. I'll be bringing the broadcast to you tonight, and you just saw that it's Monza time, and it's somewhat late at evening. It's somewhat of a night race, and I think that is going to be very interesting. So maybe let's walk through the format a little bit here. So since we are now in a free practice session without a qualifying, we've had the drivers qualify throughout the week, giving them lots of time and ample opportunity to set their personal fastest time. Now in this race, we'll be seeing them go around for the duration and basically trying to finish as far up as they can. Driver swaps included, so it's teams of two sharing the car here. We've had very interesting races last time around. The previously very dominant Phil Varley and RWB Hacks, who won the first 3 rounds around Donington. They didn't have such great times.
Yeah, no, it wasn't kind of the dream weekend for them. Only finishing P9 overall, so they're still ahead in the championship, leading by I think that's 37 points if my maths is correct. But yeah, they've dominated everywhere else, but yeah, Donington was not their ideal scenario.
Let's bring that on over and have a quick look at the championship table together here. So leading here in the Bentley Continental is Phil Varley and RWB Hacks. Not much competition at the moment, but things could change very much here. Dorr and Emo Plate in the Lexus second position. Oliver Curtin, Christoph Treveron is third with their Lamborghini number 58 here. And then down the order, we've had a surprise finish. Jake Moore and Xerax winning last time around at Donny.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shocker. I think if anyone watched it last week, they'd agree it was quite a surprising weekend. Last week we had the first time that I've ever seen the full course yellow brought out for lap 1. It was quite surprising. But yeah, some winners, some losers, and yeah, Jake Moore and Xerax in that Mercedes, they definitely came out on top in that weekend.
I do recall that watching back the stream of yours. Wonderful job as always to you. It's very rare that we see this full course yellow, and maybe for some of the drivers out there watching this broadcast, basically what happened to cause it?
It was just kind of 3-4 wide going into turn 1. Kind of the story of every public lobby that ends up with big crashes at the start. I think everyone was very eager to get any position they could on lap 1, and it kind of didn't go so well in turn 1. And then down the bottom at the old hairpin, everyone kind of came together. We had cars losing the rear end. The Lamborghinis seemed to be struggling at Donington, so we had lots of cars going off down there. But yeah, in the end, I think my driver of the day on Saturday was Kai Banks, who lost out in lap 1 and did a phenomenal recovery drive. So it was great stuff, but it wasn't just Kai who did a massive recovery drive. We had tons of other people as well. But that was kind of the only car that we were kind of cheering on at that stage because he just had the worst luck that week.
Yeah, the starting procedure obviously tonight at Monza will be super interesting as well. Hopefully they have learned their lessons respectively and are looking to make this a little bit more of a clean start. I think the Lamborghinis definitely do struggle if the setup is a bit too stiff, but chances are here tonight Oliver Curtin, Christopher Treveron, currently the leading Lamborghini in the respective GT3's here on third spot right now with 251 points. They're probably looking to retaliate.
100%. I mean, they're sitting P2 next to Jake Moore in the 88 Mercedes, so they're right up there. They're in the perfect position to take advantage. But I mean, P1, 3, and 4 are Mercedes, so they're absolute powerhouses around here. And
Yeah.
I'm
Maybe,
going to
Jake.
struggle to see Lamborghini try and hold them off.
Jake Moore at the front. Maybe you can walk us through a little bit what is happening in the qualifying as I'm getting everything set up. 2 minutes until we are ready to start this race here tonight. I'll be
Yes, so in P1 we had the number 88 Mercedes of Jake Moore with Christopher Tavarian and Olivier Curtin. Those who managed to put a time in the Lamborghini that put them in P2. The second row is filled with Mercedes. We have Orlando Tahira and Rafael Malho.
Those guys actually company with some nice pictures here as well. Ooh. Just got everything set up here. So we are now moving over to the track side to bring you some of this action. I think you do have everything set up once again. So let's start right on over. So up at the front we have that AMG number 88 of Jake Moore. You go ahead.
Yeah, so it's the number 88 Mercedes in P1. In P2 we have that Lamborghini Huracan with a number 58 driven by Curtin and Tavarian. In the second row we have two Mercedes. We have the number 21 and the number 34 respectively. Kai Banks on the right in that monster liveried car. And the kind of red and black car on the left with Tahira and Malho. In P5 we have Emo Plates in the Lexus number 917 with number 33 Ferrari alongside him with Madley starting at the wheel. In P7 we have Topinka and Peter Peck in another Ferrari, and alongside them is Phil Varley in the Bentley. In P9 we have Robert De Vries in another Lamborghini. That's the leading AM class vehicle for tonight from qualifying. Alongside him we have Podolski in the Audi R8. In P11 we have Gretschel with John McCain, and alongside them is Rigel. Those two guys are in the Ferrari vehicles for tonight. Behind them we have Adam Sharp and Ian Simcox in another Ferrari with an AMR V8 Vantage. That's the highest placed Aston Martin that we have from qualifying. Behind them we have Rick Binnersley and Jack Camaletto in the Bentley with Tarbuck behind, and then we have newcomer Jean, Mardell, Red, Charger, Speed, and Kelleher. Those guys are all starting off towards the back end of the field from the qualifying session that we had.
Right, wonderful stuff that, and let's have a look. Lights have mostly turned on already as we are now looking to proceed forwards in the session. First car already leading the way. I'll actually get the engine sounds running for you. Just 1 second while I'm getting this fixed for ourselves for the race start here. Obviously we don't want to miss out on that beautiful audio in game. Hear it in the background here already as we're looking to go green in just 1 second here. Want to make everything perfect, want to get it just right for you watching out there at home. So here we go then, moving on over and checking in with De Vries here on the side.
Yeah, but De Vries is going to have a tough time trying to hold off the Mike Bull who's behind him as well in VM class, but yep, I'll let you do the intro.
Wonderful stuff then. So 2-hour race as we're ready to go racing. Wonderful start there from the AMGs, and definitely Madley also pulling away quite significantly early here in the race. It looks like Christopher Tavarin already has the outside. Very nice run there. So we're going 3 wide in the middle. That's very dangerous. That Ferrari pack is looking to make things spicy and opening up. Oh, completely missed the braking. What happened there? Jake Moore goes deep and takes the cut. Let's see if he's going to give back the time, or perhaps a position. Looks like the start is mostly clear. So we're going 3 wide there for a brief moment on the outside. That's going to be De Vries here with Ammo Plate in the middle, looking to join sides here into the second chicane. They go. Then the Tech 1 Racing is in a very good position here to get something done. Now up at the front still, Jake Moore ahead of Christopher Tavarin as we're getting a little bit of contact there between Tahiro and Plate there. Some of the cars are forced to use the runoff. Let's check in the helicam and see what happens here. Lots of cars avoiding contact just very narrowly as we're now side by side with Matt Turbuck here to the inside. Then he goes off Gretcher, Dirk Gretcher that is, and up at the front still leading. It looks like Christopher Tavarin got the move done after the second mistake by Moore.
Yeah, we've got we had the number 68 Aston Martin go off at turn 1 at Variante del Rettifiglio, and we're also seeing a Lamborghini drop back as well. It looks like the number 146 Lambo of max speed, so I'm not quite sure what's happening with those guys, but yeah, a lot of 3 wides going into turn 1 there.
very dangerous, actually. They seem to give some space, but really looking to improve their positions as soon as possible. They had all week to set their qualifying times, but it looks like some cars do prefer the race here. And most importantly, up at the front, it seemingly still is clear. However, Jake Moore is not going to be happy with the race start of his. We're jumping on board here with Phil Varley here in a second. Don't want to miss what happens here because he's got a major run on RWB madly here. To the outside he goes, and Grumpy Barsford's 55, and side by side they're going to be joining each other as the Marco Badowski Audi potentially joins the fray here, looking to jump a position. Now around the outside, Phil Varley gets the move done before they even arrive at turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are going to want to get moving at this point because of Monza. Oh, that's a messy turn 1 right there with that McLaren facing the wrong way. Looks like the number.
Yeah, that must be mad. Alice, use the opportunity, go back 30 seconds in time and have a look what happened here. I hope the replay is not going to be stuck for all that long. Wonderful stuff. So he seems to be chased here. Auden in the background. Auden Stjorn. That should be the number 543 Porsche on the left there. And he's going to probably get some contact as he absolutely sends it there. And there's no room as they are making contact. That's the 718. Oh, tragic. Jonas Red there. That's the Ferrari causing the contact and the major collision resulting out of there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure that was there was a move there. That was very opportunistic, but it looks like he waited up for Mardell, which is the exactly right thing to do. But unfortunately for those two, you need to get in with a pack so you can be kind of. He needs to be dragged along. Monza's a very slipstreamy track, and he wants to kind of be sucked along more than a businessman in a Thai massage place. So you don't want to be caught out at all. You want to kind of be in there and be dragged along.
Oh, you got me. You got me with that one. You got me really good with that one. Oh, net newcomer moving into 14th. Now that's one analogy that I'll definitely be writing down. Well, that is perfect. Thank you so much for that. That makes my weekend all the better. Alright, side by side here as well. The fight for P8. Matt Turbock is gonna attend. I'm gonna need a breather in the background also to Pinker. Getting a very nice run here by the looks of it. Side by side through turn 1 in the topic racing. And he might get the position against Tarbuck here. Actually, no, Tarbuck is moving ahead of the Bentley. The Binnersley must have made a mistake, but still here, Ammo Plate fighting with Topinka. Second chicane, definitely an opportunity to miss a breaking point quite easily and potentially send it. 917 gets ahead now, and that is 10th place for Ammo.
Yeah, good move, nice and clean, but the Ferraris behind are still going at it. You've still got Adam Sharp behind Rigel, who are now trying to get past Topinka, and Topinka needs to kind of forget about what's just happened with Plate and keep his mind on the job. He needs to keep going forward and not focus on those mirrors.
And it's going to be a tough job here. Up at the front, I'm getting the deltas in. Still very close between Tverin and Jake Moore here. So I'm currently setting up so that we can get a good view. So what has happened? Ammo Plate losing 5 positions from 5th down the order. And look at that. That should be Ammo Plate once again taking a deep stroll out at Ascari. A bit of a long run, really.
Yeah, Plate's kind of missed out, but Tarbuck, he's had an absolute blinder of a first stint. He's made up 8 positions already, with Binnersley kind of following him up as well. He's made 6 positions since the beginning, so those two are doing a phenomenal job. They're kind of dragging each other up, it seems. So yeah, it's great stuff for those two, but yeah, unfortunately, Emo Plate and Topinka, they've kind of dropped down a little bit as well, losing 5 and 4 positions respectively.
And they're still fighting very hard here now. Let's have a look what happens here. Into turn 1 they go once again side by side. It's a little bit of a deja vu in the fight here for P10. Bit of a contact between the two. Really don't want to give each other much room, but this might result in a very good run here for Ryder, who then takes the inside and leaves Ammo Plate flabbergasted.
But right behind them they have Nate Newcomer as well, trying to make a move on Adam Sharp. So it's still hectic for the very beginning, but yeah, you can see You can see Nate Newcomer has managed to
Very
get
late
done on
braking there. Look how easily he closed almost 6/10 of a gap there. Nate Newcomer in just 2 turns. Basically, that singular second chicane made him gain so much time over the rest of the crew.
Yeah, it's just mental, isn't it? Braking power.
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately, I'd expect the McLarens to be kind of up there for braking performance because they're amazing, but they're just pancakes, and they just can't go straight, it seems. Whoa, very, very late dive to the outside, but unfortunately that was way too late.
Tarbuck shoving Orlando to hero here in the Moon 21 completely out of the way. That was a bit of a rude one, wouldn't you say? And he's going to continue like this, at least by the looks of it, as there's a wide array of cars making their way into the final turn here. It's going to be a side to the outside, to the grass, and a big cheek there for the Aston Martin of Newcomer. What happened there?
Yeah, Newcomer's gone very off, and he's going to have to tuck back in to get sucked along again, but yeah, he's going to wish that the back of the Porsche ahead of him is Dyson attached to the back of it, so he can keep on going.
You know, you've ruined Slipstream for me. You know that, right?
I'd say I've improved it.
Certainly so. Oh, wonderful stuff. Looks like he's gonna tuck back in behind the 543 of Orden soon here. He's gonna be very happy with that because chances are he's not gonna have the best run out of here. RWB Rigel is now looking to follow along and get his nose to the to the outside actually of Ammo Plate. That's the oh, that's Lexus on the outside. Big contact. Oh, tragedy unfolds itself as there's no contact there. Ammo Plate already spun around once, gets another nudge, and that's gonna be disaster in the second chicane for the 917.
Yeah, it's beginning to look a bit more like NASCAR than it does for gentlemen driving in GT3's. I think someone's missing their kind of boxing lesson today and wants to have another go at having a bit of a bout as we see cars off on the outside of Cover de Lesmo on the second.
Yeah, it must be Nate Newcomer as well as the Lambo of De Vries.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for those guys.
Let's go back 30 seconds, have another quick look at what happened there. Let's jump to the dash cam. So this is a very tight fight. We are on board here with Nate Newcomer, who got involved in this incident and is probably going to find himself to the outside. Oh, he's absolutely being sent by the Lambo in the background there. That must have been De Vries destroying that rear exile. Wow, what happened there? Very unfortunate.
I'm wondering what's going on in that rear view TV camera that they had just then. It looked like a Mercedes sending it on the
I'm pretty sure that's actually the live picture, so he can actually see the future from within his cockpit. It's the extra feature you get when you're getting a Lamborghini GT3. They actually designed that as a it's a new type of rear view mirror. One that can actually.
Yeah, unfortunately, it didn't help him with his braking zone for the second Lesmo, but yeah,
should have seen it coming.
You should have seen it coming, but
he looks at the rearview mirror and sees there's a whole different plethora of cars in the background, some back markers as well. It's like, wait, how am I gonna get there? And then he looks up at front and he's already missed the braking point. It's the future tends to make itself happen. But talking a little bit about, obviously don't want to miss the racing action. I'll get back to that when we're having another side-by-side here. Designing things such as a wonderful future-predicting rearview mirror. We've got ourselves very happy Josh here tonight because he's got a little story to tell us.
Oh, it's just me helping manufacture and design Aston Martin GT3's and GT4's.
Yeah, that's so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, so if you start seeing Aston Martin dropping down in pace, you know who to blame.
It's fantastic. He's got the job offer on his hands. He's already passed basically the entry exam. He's got a very interesting, very creative task he had to do and passed that with flying colors. So we'll see him out there, and that's just wonderful. Now, so can we get a little love here for Josh? I think that would be fantastic in the chat.
Cheers, lads. Someone who's not past the flying colours of Christopher Taverian, though, is Jake Moore, who's still hounding the back of him in P1 and P2, but we're currently looking at the battle for P7 with Topinka at the front of this group with Benizli and Tohiro behind them. So they're still chasing him down. I've also been looking at the fight between Rigel and Mike Bull as well, so
Yeah.
different classes for those two in P15 and P16, but it looks like Rigel is ahead and it's seeming to be pulling away currently, but this battle that we're seeing on screen is I'm kind of worried it will end in disaster.
Yeah, it's been really a lot of that very early in the race. We've seen lots of drivers making mistakes, and while the track limits themselves and the runoff is wide, it's super easy because the cars usually have to cross from the outside far to the inside when coming into heavy braking zone, which makes it very difficult. So they're going now side by side to the inside for Rick Binnersley to quickly interrupt my commentary flow. Actually, he's gonna back out of it for now. But what I was about to say is, since then, maybe if you outbrake yourself, it's very difficult to actually avoid contact. Basically, you're forced to still run the inside. And you already mentioned it, Mike Bull here in the background, and the United Team Performance 68 fighting against RWB Rigel here. It's the second battle we are following for you in the background here.
Yeah, we've also got Charger and Madel and I can barely read. I need my glasses, but it looks like Nate Newcomer.
Yeah,
they are also closing the gap down as well, so that's about 5 tenths between all those guys. But very, very interesting line from Mike Bull, nearly tapping the rear end of Rigel, but keeping it clean and yeah, keeping it nice and clean going around Parabolica. But now Mike Bull will have the suck as he goes down the straight, heading towards Variante de Retifilo.
Yeah, he's actually not gonna have the mark, but the mic suck into turn 1 here. I can't, not tonight. I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. Alright, just quickly checking in here. So there's a bit of an opportunity for the number 21 heavy braking zone as well. And you see it flashing to the outsides there. He's squirting out a little fuel himself with the different downshifts. Is that actually a feature? Is that how it goes? What is up with the lights there on the downshifts?
That's just when you go down a gear to reduce the amount of time it takes for you to kind of change gears going down, and to reduce the stress on the engine, you flip the throttle a little bit. It's kind of like it's like I'm trying to think of it. Oh mate, my head's taking an absolute freeze. But yeah, the cars automatically flip the throttle. Right. To reduce stress on the engine and to reduce the chances of the wheels locking up. So that's why we see that squirt of fuel coming out and sometimes flames on the downshift.
Right.
So it's a bit counterintuitive, isn't it? Going down the gears but still accelerating. But yeah, that's what they do to stop the rear wheels from locking.
That's quite interesting. Well, I obviously see that on the downshifts, but I didn't know that at night, especially in the AMG, we can see it very clearly. With these side pipes, the side exhausts, they're giving us a little action. Once again, far to the inside.
Causes nailed it. Is rev matching. That was the phrase I was looking for.
All right.
Yeah, it's like rev matching in your car when you're healing timing.
Yeah, it's
still looking at Mike Bull and Rigel heading down the straight. Maybe he'll have the power of the suck now to keep it going, so he can explode into T1 and get a nice zesty move.
Yeah, he's already coming to his insides, but he's actually pulling out in time to avoid any sort of further repercussions in between the two. So they're now sharing the cozy landmark, which is turn 3 here, around the outside of the Curva Grande. So now heading into turn 2, once again side by side, holding hands for a little bit before Bull pulls out an absolute banger move here into turn 5.
It was a very nice defensive line that he took as well, just leaving a little bit of a gap on the outside to maybe entice Rigel and he can move out of the way if Rigel outbraked himself. But yeah, beautiful defensive line there just to seal the deal when he goes through. But that means Rigel will now have the run on them.
And actually had a little bit of a moment there, definitely losing traction. That's gonna cost him the position immediately once again. It's bit of a rough one there. Back and forth there. They're yo-yoing there. The positions at the moment. Let's have a quick look here. We already see it in the left-hand side. Timing is very close in between Tehero and Binnersley as well, as they're now about to head onto the start-finish straight here. Let's actually see if Bull is going to go for a move side by side here once again. Don't want to miss that. To the helicam we go here in just 1 second. It looks like he's already slightly ahead. That should be enough for him to cover off. This is once again breaking very deep and sideways there. Let's see if the Ferrari left enough room. Not that time around. So Rigel actually forced to lift on the exit, which is going to give him the same exact poor run onto the start finish straight here.
Yeah, he's going to be rubbing the back of Mike any second now. He dives to the inside for the move into turn 1 into Rettifio. And yeah, Vatsum got the inside line now, and you can see Mike Bull has to take a slightly wider line in. But he could try and get the cut back, but it doesn't look like he's got the run on him while they go around Curva Grande.
Yeah, he almost caressed him there on the entry, but well aware and spaced out too. Got it figured out, and they continue to fight here. Apparently, looks like Bull is at the pace of the number 96 here, despite the major class difference. It's very nice to see such a close fight unfold for a multitude of laps at this point. They've been at it for about 15 minutes now, really.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see this kind of battle ongoing. I think also following the battle between Sharp and Tarbuck as well, with Gretschel close behind as well, and it looks like Gretschel's slightly dropping back. You can just see the timing screen on the left-hand side. Gretschel's dropped back now to a second, but Tarbuck is slowly gaining onto the back of Sharp in the Lexus. So we'll see how it goes. But the Evo Ferrari, it seems to be doing all right around here.
Yeah, I have to say it's personally my favorite car to drive around Monza at this point in time. They're still going. I just cut. There's different battles. I want to have a look. Come on, guys. Just get it figured out. They're still side by side now for the 4th time in a row. To the inside. Can you stop it in time? Yes, narrowly so. Oh, look how close this is. Wow.
Yeah, he nearly gave Rigel a kiss on the arse as he came back around, going through Parabolica. Very close indeed, but I feel like this battle is going to keep on going. It's going to yo-yo positions right now, because as soon as one gets the run, the other one gets past. And
yeah, let's go back 30 seconds here. We missed how Emo played. Got the move done on Xun. Let's go right on back, have a look on board here. Maybe let's go and get creative front splitter time. It's a new cam for us. Now to the inside, he's probably gonna go. Bosch trying to defend as hard as he can, but look at the overlap here. He's already got, and then he can just brake comfortably and secure the move, and what was hardly any effort.
At a flat 6, and that Porsche just can't keep up with the massive grunt the Lexus has here at Monza. You can see that move was well and truly done even before the braking zone. Unfortunately, Jerome just had nothing from the Porsche. He was literally just sitting there and having to kind of roll over and take it.
Yeah, not much he... I can't. You keep finding more analogies. I don't know what's... I don't know how you do it, but I am envious. It's lovely. I'm having a quick check-up here in the fight for P8. That's between Orlando Tehero as well as Rick Binnersley here in the number 13. That's Bentley ahead of this AMG, and they're very much in the tow here. And he's gonna be... no, I'm not gonna be safe. I'm sucking the tow. God damn it. Only the most professional broadcast. I'm having a wonderful time here. If you can't, I hope you're enjoying that as well. It's a little bit of the appropriate adult humor you've come and been looking for. How good is that?
Oh, I can tell you right now, Teharo's got his straw right out the window, and he's going to be sucking hard to try and get any advantage he can to pull the car along. And you can see him braking so late, but just managing to stay off the back of Binnersley as they go through Variante del Roglia. And that's him now going into Lesmos, and yeah, you can tell he's feeling that the move is on. He's waiting for the perfect opportunity just to slip up from Binnersley, maybe a kick of the arse on exit, maybe a little bit of touch of the gravel, anything, and Tohiro has the run.
He's willing to jump on him as soon as the opportunity arises. They've been wrestling each other for the past couple of laps as well, getting closer and closer. And we see him erupt there! Rick Binnersley jumps the curb. And that's gonna be him out of that fight for now. He's dropping back to 9th place, but not all that far behind the AMG of Tohiro. So he's had stamina, but eventually even Rick Binnersley is gonna bust.
Yeah, no one's invincible, no one's impervious to a mistake, and yeah, Tohiro just had to wait, and there it was, handed to him on a plate, P8 from RWB, sorry, from Rick Binnersley.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
now looking at
nice.
Talvik trying to get the run on Sharp, and again we see that Lexus grunt trying hard, but of course Ferrari will have bumped up the BHP on that from that engine as it goes now down towards T1. You can see Sharp taking the inside line, choosing to defend the inside as he now has a choice on when they turn in, and you can see him now kind of taking it a little bit slow so he gets a perfect run out as they go around Curva Grande.
Exactly, that is what you want to do. If you have the opportunity, you can wait a little bit on the exit or maybe in the mid corner. If there's no room, there's not much the car behind you can do. It is going to cost both of you time, but certainly it is going to preserve the position for you and give you the opportunity to continue being defensive here and holding on to that 10th place, the exactly last spot in that top 10 right now in the hands of Sharp. As I'm looking at the timetables, look at the difference here. Christopher Tuiveren and Jake Moore are the only cars within reach of each other, and then there's a 7-second gap to Vali and then another 8-second gap to Godzilla.
Yeah, it's a long way, it's a long way. Jake Moore is surprisingly still on track with Tavarian. Their lap times have been slightly identical, to be honest. We've seen Jake Moore kind of lose 3 tenths compared to Tavarian on the last lap, but they're going across the line now, and yeah, it's still a 2-tenth difference between Tavarian and Jake Moore. So whatever they've done to that Lambo, it's clearly working out for them.
You have a look at that. Actually, fast purple sector 1 here for Christopher Tavaren. Almost 25 minutes into the races. There's some yellow flags. Look like Mike Bull has gone off. Let's go back 30 seconds here and have another look. He's still struggling, and see if I can maybe get that impact finger out.
Yeah,
Completely
that's
nailed
the
himself.
Yeah, it's touching the AstroTurf on exit, and that will just kick you off massively. That will just fuck you up. And unfortunately, that's going to be an absolutely ruined front end. And if he can nurse it back, he's got a 5 minutes until their pit window opens. If they want to keep it a 2-stop.
That is not the way you want to be steering that wheel to be going straight. That is...
No, more than 90 degrees to the right. That thing is absolute goose.
He's slowly nursing it around. And chances are that's basically their race ruined at this early stage. And I don't think there was much contact there between any other car. The United team performance number 68, that just, he can't even stop in time. And look, the front hood at this point in time is all completely lifted itself, peeled itself off the engine block.
Yeah, that thing's toast. It looks like a bit of cheese has gone off and you've just smacked it into the wall. It's just absolutely fucked up. But yeah, unfortunately, it's racing, mistakes happen, and hopefully they can get the car back on track. Because they've still got Mike Speed, who's a lap down compared to them. So they still have someone to race. But we're seeing Charger, it looks like the number 69 Lexus has retired. Especially as we're seeing him in the chat, chatting away. But yeah, unfortunately that car's binned.
Pits for the past 7 minutes. Maybe we can get some more info on what happened during their race. Also, Adam Sharp had definitely a bit of a moment here. Let's have a look if there's been major contact. He's currently 13th. It seemingly must have been on the exit of Ascari. We can go back 60 seconds and have another look, because we're just darting all over the track here, trying to find the action for you. So the Golden Oldies was still fine in this point in time. It's just gone downhill after that. So
that's a bit of traffic and a half right there. That looks like the M25 during rush hour at times. But yeah, they're still moving and they're still pushing on ahead. But that's going to be an amazing slipstream train. They just need to keep on going, keep it to within a second to the car ahead, and they'll be sucked along.
Certainly. Well, and there he loses the rear end, and it looks like there's a bit of a collision with the wall as well. So that was the reason for him dropping back as severely as he did. See if this is going to reconnect. Unfortunately, it is not, so I'm going to have to look and get some feedback to the dev team. It's unfortunate. Alright, I gotta disconnect, reconnect this. Position gains are lost. I hope you still have your position gains running.
Yeah, I've still got mine. And yeah, we're still seeing Tahiro. He's unfortunately still lost 5 positions, but we're seeing Madley's only lost 1. But yeah, unfortunately, kind of the car that's come off the worst is the number 9 Lamborghini of De Vries, the number 15 car. That's unfortunately lost 10 positions since the very start.
Very rough.
So hopefully they can claw some positions back, get some points back, but yeah, that won't be the race they would have wanted. But there's still plenty of time, an hour and a half, coming up to that mark soon, so hopefully they can still push on ahead, and we'll see what happens for them.
As we are on board here, Mika Topinka, very much of a runner to the inside of the Audi. Numbers 92 of Badowski, he goes then, and they're going to be always side by side here, spotting the braking point very late on the brakes for both of them, as they're just barely making it in time. And it looks like Badowski outbroke himself slightly. Very early pressure there, worked on him just fine, and that's Topinka up into 5th.
It looked like Badowski took a very wide line in. I wonder if he was worried Topinka was going to outbrake himself. He didn't want to get into any issues, because I mean, at the end of the day, you want to survive, and self-preservation is key. But yeah, very wide line from Badowski. It's quite unusual for him to be outbraking himself. But yeah, good news for Topinka.
Last time around, he did lose 5/10 to Topinka, so it could have been potentially just him seeing that Topinka was braking so late that maybe he was on a different level of pace, and now looking to not fight too much, because we see once again to Godzilla the gaps are starting to widen quite significantly. If we bring up the track map here, we can see that's the number 58 car now going through Parabolica. Then it's the 88 chasing fairly closely, and that's the 55, 34, and this is the number 91. So they're fairly spread out and not too much slipstream to be shared. It's a very rare resource they've got to manage. They want to bring this one home successfully. It's probably also going to be down to the way that they're managing their pit stops tonight.
Couldn't have said it any better. I mean, we've still got this train of 3 currently, with Sharp, Gretschel, and Plates, with Plates at the head of the train. They're going to be slipstreaming off each other quite a lot, and the problem is, for Sharp, if he tries to battle Gretschel, then Gretschel and Sharp will lose out on time, allowing Plate to walk away, and then that goes their slipstream. And given how powerful the Lexus is around here, even with that Ferrari power unit within those Evo cars, it's still quite a lot of effort to try and get up to that Lexus without the tow.
Exactly that. It's going to be a tough one. They really have to manage the race at this point. 1 hour and 30 minutes still here to go tonight on this wonderful Saturday. Joining me here in the broadcast booth is the one and only. It's the Josh Meister. It's the chief of them all. My name is Niklas Kraus, and I'm happy to have you around Monza here tonight. It's been a very interesting race. Some very good fights, and it looks like things have calmed down a little bit in that long and awaited two-way fight a little bit further down the order.
Yeah, I mean, we've still got cars setting very, very quick times up at the front. I mean, Severian is only a 10th off his best time last lap, and that's the same for Jake Moore as well, MP2. So those two are still setting blistering times, alongside Phil Varley, who's also setting 1:48.6s. So that is really quick pace, but everyone else seems their tyres may be going a little bit. So yeah, they're kind of dropping back about 5/10 to a second off their fastest pace. So we'll see how it goes for everyone else, but yeah, those front runners are still going strong.
Oh, certainly. They've been showing some great pace here. Checking in with Orlando Telhero in the chase with RWB Madley here. It's a bit of a pace difference in between the two, where Telhero was 6 tenths quicker last time around. I'll actually bring up the sector comparisons here as well, as they're now coming across the line. Looks like they're somewhat similar here, but definitely a big difference here in Sector 2.
Yeah, it's going well for them. Like, to be honest, I mean, for those two, they're still close together. They can still slipstream each other off, and they can still work their way up. But we see Tahiro kicking the arse out and touching the gravel, so that's going to be him losing a little bit. But we see Mike Bull is still out on track. He's already done one pit stop, but I think he did that before the pit window realistically opened for him. But yeah, he's a lapped car, and I'm sure everyone's going to want to get past him quite quickly.
Let's see what he does. He chooses the easy option here, chooses the way out as soon as he could. So he'll be basically stopping on the track side. I don't know if the damage is repaired. The visual damage is absolutely there still, but I don't know if that's actually representative of what's happening. We saw chasing here Dirk Gretschel and Ammo Plate, who have already exchanged positions, but the pace seems to be about the same here, with a 149.1 or 0.2 for them respectively.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen too much action as we see Jake Moore, 33 minutes into his stint, setting the fastest time. No idea how he's managing that. But yeah, Gretschel and Ammo Plate, they've kind of just been following each other along, you know, sucking each other off as they go along the track. So we'll see how it goes for those two. But yeah, it's kind of a similar position to for guys fighting for P7, where if they battle each other, they will lose out and start losing time to Tarbuck.
And you don't want to miss out on a Saturday night soccer with the boys, that's for sure.
Oh, of course. That's what the boys live for, is a good suck-off. One car that's getting sucked along right now is...
I'm trying to contain myself here. I really am. So up into the pit lane as the first car here. Oh. Actually, I don't think Bull has actually gone to the pits yet. No. Quickly checking in with that. He's actually not been to the pit lane yet. He's still nursing the car around. So, Moore maybe is looking to make us happy a little bit. We had him gaining 4/10 on Treverin on the last lap, and that seems to be a continuing trend here. 48.6 was the lap time for the currently leading car. And while that's very respectable, that's just apparently no match to what Jake Moore can do at the moment. In his number 88 AMG up at the front here, fighting for that position 1, just as Tahiro might have a good opportunity here now coming up to Ascari. He is going to have an absolute run here. Let's jump on board in just a second and have a look what's happening here. It's to the side-by-side, outside braking very late and deep, and it looks like they're still going to be continuing side-by-side. He's got a move done right on there, up into 7th position for the number 21 of Orlando.
It's a bold move to do that into Ascari, but fair play to him. He made the move work, and he's now ahead. Very bold move and very ambitious, but yeah, if you can pull it off, you can pull it off, and yeah, that's what he's done.
Hey, quite impressive. Around the outside as well, you have to find the traction there. Not an easy task at all, but very respectable driving. They did realize what they were looking at, so they just basically let each other go a little bit to then... No, okay, I'd stop for a brief moment, just a brief moment with the car sexual puns. Is that a word? That is a word. Moving on from here.
We've still got Bindesy trying to get onto the back of Madley. We could see Madley going into T1, into Del Rettifio, getting close enough that he could tongue Tahiro's arsehole, but yeah, he's getting very close and very juicy. Can barely fit a cigarette's paper between them, but they're still keeping it going, and it's still pretty clean from what we're seeing. But it looks like Tahiro's got a... It looks like once he's got past Madley, he no longer has the dirty air going through the corners. He can brake a little bit later because he's got the air resistance holding him up a little bit. And it looks like he's starting to pull away from Madley behind.
Quite a little bit. It's actually bring up the rear wing camera here for the fake taxi 33 here. Madley is slowly and steadily creeping up closer, and by the looks of it, the number 33 Ferrari here. Doesn't have the greatest of runs throughout Ascari. At least he was overtaken here last time around. Seems to do just fine, but on the exit he finds himself sliding all the way. That's definitely going to be an opportunity here for Binnersley in the 13 as we are jumping to the trackside once again. Chances are he's going to have a look around the outside then. Oh, look at that late braking, and he's still there. He's still there. He's going to keep the line tight, but that means they're about with the same exit, and that means it's a no-go move here for Binnersley, who definitely had an opportunity there into the final turn.
It looks like Binnersley's starting to gain again on the pit straight, and now he knows that Madley has made a mistake at Ascari. He can keep pushing him and pressuring, and that will give him a run into Parabolica. Yeah, I think it's getting close between those two, and I'm expecting some sort of contact at some point, but the way they managed to hold the rear end going around Parabolica and not tap each other that close, it's a very tough thing to do, and I applaud them for doing it.
Certainly. Now the thing is, Madley here at this point in time is a little bit shocked because he's not in reach of Tejero anymore. He can try to pull out his arm, but there won't be any sort of slipstream help at this point in time because he's 1.5 seconds behind. Now he's caught up in the headlights of the number 13 Bentley. That'll definitely ruin his chances of getting back onto P7 because he'll be under pressure very soon here.
100%, but I mean, this fighting that's going on between them, it's given Tejero a growing gap. You can see the gap getting bigger and bigger each time they go through the timing gates. Currently at 1.5, and yeah, look at that, it's now 1.899. So Madley is using every ounce he can to try and catch back up to Tejero, but with that Bentley behind him hounding the back of his vehicle, he's absolutely struggling to try and make up the ground to Tejero again.
Look at him weaving left and right.
Psych him out, yeah.
Around the sides. He's trying to fake him out. He's trying to get a reaction out of there. Want to see him with the surprised face once he actually has the Bentley on the inside at some point in time tonight.
I think Madley knows, but Binnersley's going to try and get the move done on the inside at Parabolica into the braking zone. But yeah, Binnersley doing everything he can to try and psych Madley out and try and get a gap at some point. But yeah, I think Madley's caught wise to the sort of move coming out of Variante Ascari and into Parabolica, so it'll be a tough one.
Yeah. It's something both drivers are aware of at this point in time. They've been chasing for a couple of laps, and yeah, they're starting to really get to feel each other. So it's going to be down to who actually gets the braking zone. Very deep there for the Ferrari. That's going to be the move right then and there. So we had the pressure build up a little bit too much as Madley drops back into 9th.
That's going on that's quite interesting as Jake Moore is slowly catching up to Christopher Severian. He's getting about a 10th a lap, roughly. So he's getting there slowly, but he's been consistently pushing, getting closer towards Severian. But it's a tall order. Those two have some serious pace, but Phil Varley just set his the overall fastest lap time last lap. So he's also clearly pushing as well before he goes in for his first stint, but they've only got about 5 minutes left on their first stint, so they're going to have to pit this lap or the next one.
Not much time in the window here, and we see it there on the different datas. We have about the same pace, really, with those two pushing as hard as they can. Phil Varley certainly showing us that he's preserving the tires a little more neatly, but chances are it's going to be a position change for the moment when they're coming into the pit lane, because we already have a bunch of cars. For example, Emo Plate as the leading car with their pit stop already, at least the first of the two pit stops already being served. Well, then let's see what happens around the corner. Because with an hour and 20 minutes here to go, and the field being as spread out as it is, it's going to be down to the second driver to prove their worth. Because this is, however, still a team event. That's something you have to take into consideration. This way, I see a car off there. What happened there? That must have been... Hold on, let me get that back. That must be the... Was that the max speed of... Must have been that. There was a car off. I'm sure of that. I don't think I'm seeing things yet. It was a McLaren, but it's not, not this number 4 car we are currently chasing. So no one into the pit lane. This time around, they're gonna go around once more.
Yeah, it looked like it could have been Mike Speed in for number 146 McLaren, so not sure what happened, but yeah, I think it's what we've seen from other drivers tonight, just losing it on the exit of Ascari, so it's unfortunate for Max Speed, but you know, it happens and he's still got a race to do. He's still got to catch up to Mike Bull and stay ahead of Red in for 718 Ferrari.
I think at this point in time, obviously we do have the fights you mentioned, but you could just set yourself a little personal challenge at this point in time to just try and not get lapped towards the end of the race. Trying to not get lapped anymore, just trying to keep ahead and basically make this a race of self-improvement. And really, when you're in this sort of position, that's the moment where you really see what a driver can do, because he's got to pull himself together and continue fighting back now with what seems to be for position, but really is not quite. It's the overtake here between Orlando Tejero and Robert De Vries. However, De Vries still to serve a pit stop as they're getting very close there on the exit of Ascari.
Yeah, it's getting close between them. I've just seen a close call between Max Speed and the Lexus. It looks like well, I'm trying to get my bearings on who's running what livery, but it looked like it was close between Emo Plate and Max Speed. So that was nearly an instant, but luckily nothing came out of it. But we're seeing Tejero, and it looks like it was that.
He's got it done onto De Vries, and then number 15 and Emo Plate also chasing about 7/10, separating the two cars as they're now heading into turn 1. So this is the second stint, and it looks like Tejero as well as Emo Plate are doing a double stint here tonight. Let's bring up the timing tables and see who is joining us here as a 2-team, or are we just seeing single drivers out here looking for company out on track? So looks like
currently with with everyone still doing their pit stops, you can have lots of people doing undercuts, overcuts, and all that. But Phil Varley soloing it and being in P3, that's fair play to him.
Yeah, it's quite strong. Let's jump up to the front here, because they are about to get running in just 1 second. Chances are it's maybe going to be 10-15 more seconds. Christopher Ferrer gets moving first. Jake Moore almost gets a cut on him here. It looks like he did in the pit lane. Wow. Would you have a look at that? That pit stop was 3 seconds quicker. 3 seconds in the pit lane. And he's been working all stint. Christopher Tavares is going to be fuming. He's flashing his light. What happened in that pit box of Lamborghini?
There's I think some people know this. I'm probably about to piss off a lot of people by revealing this, but you can gain about 3 or 4 seconds in the pit stop by turning the engine off as you cruise into the pit box. So if someone doesn't know that and they wait for the car to automatically turn off after they stop, they can lose about 3 or 4 seconds compared to the driver who turns off the car before they come to stop in the pit box and then turns on the engine before the pit crew are done, so they can set off immediately. So I have a feeling that's what Jake Moore's done, and maybe Tavarian hasn't, but it could be that they've put in different fuel levels.
Well, chances are it's actually going to be what you were considering before that, because, and do correct me if I'm wrong, these drivers have to do the same, either a tire swap or Emo Plate, spinning it around there, doing a little donut. That's 1 hour, 14 minutes too early, champ. So he's losing their position there to Tejero. Or actually, no, too sharp. Sorry about that. It's a little hiccup there. So yeah, bit of a rough one from him there. Marco Badowski also chasing Bindersley at this point in time. Usually when you're looking at Monza, and now a pit stop time should, at most, with a tire change, take you 69 seconds, and that's an optimum pit stop, which perfectly fits the theme of tonight here. So chances are there might have been a mistake considering the duration of his visit to pit lane.
Yeah, I mean, Zavarian was 3 seconds slower than Jake Moore in that pit stop, so whatever Jake Moore did, he clearly got the jump on Zavarian, but yeah, so really impressive to manage to have done that.
Looked pretty easy. It was. I just love the little moment they had when they're coming out of the pit lane. The Lamborghini driver is just smashing his wheel, looking for the for the flasher as well, trying to show him at least some resistance. Because he must have been fuming. He came ahead. It was driving a perfect first stint after getting the run, but doesn't matter apparently, because he's just been overtaken in the pits.
Yeah, we're also seeing Badowski getting, him overtaking Benazzi, and there was absolutely nothing Benazzi could have done. He left the door open. Badowski said, "Cheers, I'm going to go through there," and absolutely owned that corner. But now we're seeing Tohiro and Sharp go side by side through there, and unfortunately that is kind of a one-line corner. It's very rare you see two cars make it all the way through, except for maybe lap 1, but even then we see what happens when cars go 2, even 3 wide into turn 1.
Yeah, quite early. These moves look like the tires coming alive at different speeds. For some of the cars there, and not alive are the tires apparently of John McCain there, who takes the absolute best he can do with the fact that he's outbroken himself into T1 here.
You also need to be careful that he wasn't given a track cut as well, because too many of those, and he's looking at a drive-through which will set him back about, what was that, 30 seconds for a drive-through. So it's a very big punishment for these guys. But yeah, it's still, you can see Jean for Porsche has amazing drive out, but you can see John McCain doing an absolutely perfect line through there, going through Della Roggia. So he's doing a fantastic job going through the Lesmos now, trying to get a perfect run as they head onto Ascari.
Apparently that's all he needed, and now he's been sent flying. McCain definitely increasing the gap after that little wake-up call in T1 here. Back in the fight, however, for position number 6 at this point in time, that's Rick Binnersley with a big run onto Badowski.
Yeah, Binnersley's doing a fantastic job. He's still trying to hold off Binnersley, but you can see Binnersley darting to the inside. Kind of looking for the move, but it looks like he kind of backs out as they go through turn 1.
It's all together and very closely too. Look how it's chasing there, not 1 meter being left on open. As they're now heading on round into the second sector here. Very technical if you want to get it super quick, but most importantly it's going to be the run into Ascari as well, because that is such a difference, because chances are if you mess up there, it's an easy overtaking opportunity where the rest of the track, despite all that slipstream action, can seem rather dull, even if you're behind someone at roughly your same pace.
It's annoying to see, but you know, it is what it is. You just have to keep on driving. But I do love seeing these exhausts glowing in the dark. You can see them on the sides there of Bentley, and also it looks like a rain light on the Audi in front of them. So absolutely brilliant that Kunos have modelled that within this game.
All drivers have been checked for STDs pre-race, so it's absolutely fine if you do see that glowing in the dark. It's all part of the plan.
What I am loving though is seeing the AM cars all together. Down at the bottom you can kind of see that red cluster on the leaderboard, and it's great to see them actually fighting each other rather than having this multi-class battle. It's really good for those guys, but yeah, you can see Tohiro is leagues ahead of the other people in his class, in the Pro-Am class.
Let's use the opportunity here, jump on board for a brief moment. So we're having a look on that large rear wing to the inside. Then he goes. Rick Binnersley might have the opportunity this time around. We're going now into the TV count. 1 second. He just lifts off. He just lifts off and lets it go for a brief moment. Actually, looks like Badowski outbroke himself. So it's once again these two trading places into T1.
It's interesting we keep seeing these doors being left open on the inside. There are marbles on the inside, as we can see Adam Sharp,
Emma
McCain
and
being taken by Emma Plate, going too wide through that corner, which is going to compromise them both, but can see Plate gets the drive, and it looks like it looks like John McCain kind of had a look. Sorry, Sharp.
Yeah, no worries.
Looks like Sharp kind of had a look at a little cross country there on the grass.
Yeah, he's probably looking elsewhere, and he's gonna probably try and fight back for this position as soon as he can, because that golden oldies number 25 is looking very promising in terms of the pace. Regardless of that, we know that Emo Plate previously was in a much more beneficial position during this race, and so it seems that now he's going to be dropping, that he's going to be gaining that back bit by bit, so he's now well back into the top 10.
Also, good news for Binnersley, he's got a back marker ahead of him, which is now giving him the toes, so he's managing to increase the gap to Badalski with the toe coming from the Ferrari ahead of him, which is a lap down. So fantastic news for him, but unfortunately for Badalski, he's just outside slipstream range, it seems, for him to have any benefit and try and keep up with him.
And that's actually Jonas Red here. We had a very rough race start in that 718 Ashcroft Racing. Let's see how he handles being overtaken here as part of the traffic scenario about an hour into the race. Looks like he doesn't make much of an effort to defend here, and that's just slots in between these two. Let's hope that he's gonna be fine on the exit here, which he is.
Has compromised Podolski though, as they go now through Curva Grande, and yeah, it's not good news for Podolski. He's Binnersley had the toe, and then Podolski got stuck behind him as they went through Rettifio in turn.
Looks a little defensive there too, and Podolski is gonna slot in behind. That's gonna cost him about 5 tenths there, maybe 3 to 5 tenths. So we're now seeing Jake Moore looking to improve right now with the lap time of his. He's just now in the final sector, so I want to have a quick look at that. He might be on his way to set a new personal best when he comes across the line. He's being chased. Treveron was closing the gap to just 1 second, is now almost 2 seconds behind. And coming across the line, Jake Moore is going to send an absolute flyer off the lap. There you go, 48.204.
That's blistering pace right there. But yeah, I don't know where he's finding this pace for those guys in the top 3. But yeah, unfortunately for Tavarian, he's set at 49.6 last lap, so it's not massively quick for what we've seen from him throughout this race. So he kind of needs to pick up the pace a little bit if he wants to try and catch up to Jake Moore, especially after that phenomenal stop for number 88 Merck had. So it's he's got his work cut out for him.
I don't know if Christopher is actually out here on track, or if his mind is still in the pit lane, bumbling and grumbling regarding the pit crew and what they did or haven't done.
It's not great. I'm sure his teammate will be telling him, "Nah, don't worry, mate. They wouldn't have changed tyres, or they're going to be short on fuel or whatever it is to try and get track position." But you know, Jake Moore, he just has to keep driving, and that seems to be what he's been doing amazingly well tonight. Is just keeping focus and setting hot laps effectively, as that's him now going past a back marker ahead.
That's position number 17 holder of Ryger. Right on out there. So we've talked about this on a previous couple of races. If you had the opportunity to choose, which sort of car would you prefer to be in here tonight?
If it's here, over the Jaguar or the Rytec.
The Ryder, I love that.
The Rytec's absolute monster around here. As long as you can brake early, it just flies. Especially when you're doing a rolling start, it always takes off. But the Jaguar as well, when you put negative rake on the Jag, sort of front tire and the rear, neutralizes the rear wing, it just flies, that thing. So it's absolute monster powerhouse, but yeah, it's not very competitive anywhere else. And given that these guys, once they're in a car, they're in that car for the whole season, taking a Jag anywhere else would not be my favorite choice.
Yeah, I've had someone from the RWB community talk to me regarding the Jaguar a little bit. I'm not gonna spoil all that much, but yeah, I haven't tested it fully yet. I do have to agree. At least that's my sort of stereotype I have regarding the car. It's just like Monza, maybe, but anywhere else, no, thank you.
No, try taking that thing up Spa, going through Eau Rouge and Blanchimont. You just
Yeah.
can't. It's kind of like the Audi on an aggressive setup. It just cannot do it without proper work done on it. But yeah, someone who is making the Audi work is Podolski, who's still in P7 trying to chase down Benisley in the Bentley ahead of him. But that gap, it did get quite high. They were robbing asses earlier on in the race, about 10 minutes ago, and now Podolski's on the uphill struggle to try and catch back up.
Nice.
I'm just seeing Nate Newcomer though, setting what looks like a fastest lap last lap, which I'm not sure where that's come from.
Let me bring
or if
that up.
my timing
All
screen
right.
is wrong, but yeah,
48.1, you are correct.
yeah,
And it was a
absolutely
valid
crisp.
lap apparently too, and he's now coming across the line. It's 48.5 that time around, but yeah, on his fastest lap, he almost had the fastest second sector, so he definitely has lots of potential here tonight. It's just he's not really in a position to show it, as he's kind of sitting on the shelf empty-handed with a 16th place in his hands for the Oman Racing with TF Sport number 97.
He's lapping 2 seconds faster than Mardal, who's ahead of him in P15. He's about 8 seconds up the road, roughly. So if he keeps up this pace, he could catch up to him in about 16 laps, roughly, which would be round about halfway through his stint. So he could do it, he could catch up to him, but it is an uphill struggle, and he is going to have to hope that Mardal and Barraclough ahead of him make a mistake.
He'll be hoping for that, but it's not likely going to happen. They've been not quite at the same pace as Nate Newcomer, but they've been consistently driving well all throughout the race once things have settled down. So the only car recently dropping some positions must have been through some incidents that we missed, is the Nigel Mansell number 5 here, the Lexus. We didn't give all that much love and screen time so far yet, but now we have to take a quick look, because they were in the top 10 but dropping back quite significantly.
Yeah, it's not good for them, but I mean, I reset my position tracker at the start of the pit stops, and someone who has one out is Emo Plate. Adam Sharp and Rick Benisley. Those guys made at least 3 or 4 positions with undercuts. However, for Jody Barraclough and RWB Rigel, those guys missed out on about 3 or 4 positions. So it didn't go too well for those guys. There are some winners and some losers, but we'll see what happens in the second pit stop.
Is there a car off in the background? Yeah, that's the number. It's Medley there on the side of the road.
What you need.
Oh, it's a big one. Let's go back 30 seconds and have another look what happened there. Must have been just a little something, because it didn't look major, but he was certainly off on the exit here of the first Lesmore, not quite Elmore. Oh, he loses the rear end there on the entry and is forced to basically shuffle the car around on the inside. A little love tap there to acknowledge the fact that he almost just spun the car around all the way.
So that it's so dark by Charger. I'm not sure if it is a night race Charger, just in case, but you're not aware. But yeah, it's really dark right now, so it is kind of, it doesn't help, because during the day you have the shadows, you can see the textures of the road, so you can get a lot more there's a lot more brake markers for these guys, whereas right now they're kind of limited to bright white lines on the road and the brake markers on the side of the road. So it is a lot harder for these guys to drive at night and be as consistent. But I think for some, it's better at night, because there's fewer distractions. They can just kind of get their head down and focus. But someone who is getting their head down and focusing is Nate Newcomer, he's so close. He's only about 400ths off the pace in Sector 2 from Jake Moore, who set the fastest Sector 2. So Newcomer is setting blistering times compared to the people around him, which I think is absolutely commendable. He's set the fastest Sector 2 time now, actually.
On his last lap as well, yeah.
Yeah, so he's doing absolute wonderful work. He's still on the hunt.
Is that 4.5 tenths? 4.5 tenths he gained there in just Sector 2? That's nuts.
It's absolutely mental that he's finding this pace. So Mardal and Jeune, they're going to have to kind of pick up the pace a little bit. But
and they're going to quickly chuckle and then. The chances are they're going to chuckle and then acknowledge quietly that they are indeed in danger of being overtaken. That's for sure.
Especially now with Jean catching up to the back of Barraclough, so number 543 Porsche is catching up to number 5 Lexus, so it's going to get tight for those two, and they may start losing time to Maddow and Nate Newcomer if they start battling it out when they're going through Ascari. But we still have Madley and Adam Sharp in the 2 Ferraris. Those two have caught up to each other and started battling. And we've also got to Pinker and Binnersley. I'm not sure where these deltas have gone. It's absolutely mental. How quickly these gaps have closed up. I wonder if there's been someone, little fairy, going out onto the track and sprinkling oil somewhere, because all these gaps are coming down.
Somebody must have snapped, because these gaps are gone and have been reduced to atoms. So now seeing a side-by-side through turn 1. Wow, alright, too wide. There we go. Adam Sharp is still holding on the outside of Curva Grande, and he might still have the opportunity, and not giving each other much room at all here. Now he's actually just a little shy of being side by side to see if he goes for something into second chicane. He's going to back out of it for now, but that is going to be a blistering fight in between these 2 Ferrari pilots.
They're doing a phenomenal job keeping it nice and clean between them. Just been told that Jean is actually RWB Audi. I thought he said he was an Audi, but no, he is RWB Audi, so let's keep it clean up, and so I don't forget. I'm just going to refer to him as Jean because I will forget later on.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, those two are still battling it out up ahead. But we also have the gap between Pinker and Binnersley growing again, with Binnersley slightly pulling away, catching up to Kai Banks a little bit. But yeah, I think Binnersley may have made a slight mistake because his time dropped into the 51s last lap, which isn't his normal pace, but he's been setting the entire race, so it's not good news for him at last lap. But yeah, he's starting to pull away from Pinker again, which is good news for him.
Yeah, and this is a sort of long haul they're going to go for. 56 minutes. We're only halfway into this race. Lots of action so far, and it's fantastic that all you lads are joining us out here in the stream, out on YouTube and the RWB channel. If you have been enjoying yourselves, will do at any point in time. It is absolutely mandatory for you to head to the pit lane once more and then drop a like, as well as do subscribe. It's been a pleasure so far, and I'm looking forward to the second half of this. My name's Niklas Kraus, and out here is the man, the myth. It's Josh in the broadcast booth with me.
Oh, I'm seeing Charger talking about wanting to join us for a quick rant. So getting on here, Charger. We need I need to rest my voice a little bit. I've been drinking quite a lot recently. I had too many pints last night, so my voice needs a rest. But yeah, Charger, jump on in here. And if there are any other drivers, let us know, and we'll see if we can get you guys in for interviews.
A rant expert coming right on up. Looking forward to that, certainly. Here we're at the pace 151.2 last time around for the number 543, piloted by Audun Sjön in the RWB Racing Porsche. It's very, very close here, fairly close, certainly, to Jody, and that's the Lexus up ahead, and they're fighting in this silver class for position 3 actually in class, and it's going to come down to the wire here. And in the background we've had a Ferrari chasing them a little bit. I think that must be a back marker. Actually, is it? Let me bring this up and get things straight. Yeah, that is Jonas Red. Didn't get my sightings wrong here, luckily enough.
Well, someone with impeccable vision is RWB Charger, who's joined us here in the commentary booth. How are you doing, Charger?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're keeping busy, making lots of innuendos, all that, keeping it nice and clean.
Very good.
But yeah, we're seeing you're 25 laps down, so I think, is it safe to say your race is over?
No, I think I can catch up. I was just taking a little nap.
Oh, of course.
I've actually realised I can't drive in the dark on Monza. My braking points are non-existent. Completely. I mean, I know Monza really well, but in the dark, wow, it's so dark.
Yeah.
I think you're seeing a few people missing braking points, aren't you?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of people kind of losing braking points, not getting their turn-in point correct as well. So it's not going well for everyone out there, but at least you're not the only one out there.
No, I think on the second corner of Lesmo that someone had there was debris everywhere, and it was shining so bright. I looked at it and then missed my braking point and went off and hit the wall. So it was,
Yeah.
you should see it there on the side of the track. It's awful. It's awful. And my teammate, his rigs died, so I didn't have a driver swap anyway.
Oh no,
He's trying to
that's
fix
unlucky
it.
though.
Yeah, mechanical failures happen.
Yeah, it's you don't really think about mechanical failures in sim racing, but yeah, I guess that they do end up happening. There was that guy at Le Mans who ended up swapping his entire rig out midway through the race because his existing one failed, so he just swapped it over.
Wow, that's
I wish I had that kind of money.
Yeah.
Quick rig
how are you
swap in
enjoying
between,
Yeah, I was about to ask you, Bill, how are you finding the racing so far?
It's quite exciting. It's quite close. A lot of people hate Monza. I actually really like it. Not in the dark, obviously, but yeah, the racing's tight and it's been clean. I mean, we made it through, I think, the first lap, didn't we, without anyone. I think one person went off, but that was just a mistake.
Trying to think back to it, I think I saw 2 cars off, one at T1 and one at second Lesmo, but yeah, it looked like it was just driver error more than people being overly aggressive, so it is phenomenal, especially compared to first lap at Donington last week where we had that full course yellow.
Yeah, it's quite a rare occasion, the full course yellow, but I mean, if you were going to call one, you'd expect it on Monza, wouldn't you? But yeah, they're doing a good job.
Yeah, it's going well. Currently looking at Podolski and Topinka, these two in P6, P7. How was your racing before your car cut out in the end? Because I assume you had about 10 laps of action. Did you have any good battles with folk?
You see the second chicane, I just couldn't find the braking point for it. I was either too early or too late, and I got 2 track cuts going through there because I just had to, go out of the commitment, go straight across the track. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a few little battles and completely cocked it up and ended up last anyway. So my fault. Not enough practice, as they say, piss poor preparation and all that.
Yeah. The more you practice, the luckier you get. Looks like Podolski has had tons of practice and a lot of luck on his side because he's got the inside now going through Della Roggia, and that's a move done easily there. But Nate Newcomer's surprisingly caught up to the back of Mad Al for P15 as well, which I don't know where his pace is coming from.
Well, yeah, we've been seeing him catch up progressively over the past 10 so minutes, and now he's finally narrowed down the gap. Looks like he's going to have the inside immediately on Mad Al. That number 4 McLaren is going to probably be left done and dusted as he spots the braking point just right and moves up into 15th.
Nice and clean, eh?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Up at the front here is where better in between Sharp and Madley, where Sharp has now found his way into the top 10. Finally, they've been side by side for the longest part. Seem to have figured things out as the golden oldies. Number 25 moves ahead here. So close
I was
fighting.
thinking a drink there as my throat's gone.
No worries.
But yeah, we've also got Emo Plate setting his fastest lap as well. He's doing 48.8 on his last lap, which is his fastest lap overall so far, which is about half a second faster than everyone around him. So he is catching up to Tahiro, but I think that's also helped by the fact that Tahiro is now closing up to the back of Topinka and probably about to start fighting.
Yeah, that's about 1 second separating this P6, 7, 8 goodness and played now with the pace that he's currently got in the bag, chances are this is going to evolve into something for the remaining 48 minutes here. We do still have driver swap waiting us towards the end here, so it's going to be interesting to see who takes the early bite and who's going to try and extend here. Chances are we're going to see cars joining Charger here in that pit lane in just a couple of minutes.
It's going well for them. I mean, so far with the action, we've not seen any dirty moves, anything untoward, and it's good to see that these gaps are closing up. People finding more pace left in the barrel. But yeah, I'm still watching the battle with Nate Newcomer. He's still catching up as well to Jean ahead, and he seems to have dropped Mad Al in the dust a little bit.
Yeah, he's absolutely left him standing there. So if he was ordered somewhere and didn't get picked up at all. He's got to pick up the pace, however, if he wants to stick to that number 97. You now see two cars separating there between, I think that's Jonas Red as well as the that should be the 68 Aston Martin there.
Barros,
yeah. It's Barros for you. Unfortunately, we don't know their first names. So it's just be nice and formal, Mr. Barros in the background.
I shall leave you chaps to it. I have to sit in the pits because I'm running pit wall, so I've got to stay in the game. So,
fair enough. But yeah, thanks for joining us.
Have fun, chaps. I'll carry on watching the stream. Cheers.
Perfect. Cheers.
Pinker missed the breaking point here. It's basically gonna close down the gap right away to Hero. It's gonna be just there and waiting. Don't think he got a track cut because he lost quite a significant amount of time here in that Topic Racing number 91. Do I see top pick? Was that like as in Topic, but not spelled that way? What do you reckon?
Oh, I'm so lost. I'm quite enthralled by this because of that mistake by Topinka in the braking zone to T1. That's now Tahiro right up his chuff in that number 21 Mercedes. But I can see what you mean where it says Topinka. But yeah, it's interesting last name. But yeah, that's now Tahiro. Got the inside for the entry into Ascari. So we'll see how it goes. But hopefully Tahiro doesn't outbrake himself. And yeah, it looks like he's got the move done and dusted.
Quite a bit ahead already before the entry to Ascari even, and he's managed to put it just slanted onto the top of the curbing there. Manages to keep the car stable, and that is the position for now. However, slipstream is a thing in here because Micah Topinka has figured that one out. He's going to be looking to just spot the breaking point into Parabolica, but it looks like it isn't quite there for him yet, as he has to slot back into 8th, where Orlando Tahiro finds himself in 7th position.
Yeah, it's fair play for him. With about to enter into the final pit window for everyone, so everyone can pit in the next 18 seconds and still make it to the end without getting a penalty or anything. So it's good news for those guys, as their tyres, if they haven't changed them over, they'll be worn. They'll be absolutely fried. But yeah, Topinka, unfortunately, since the last pit stop window, he's dropped 3 places, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's basically up and down for them. I would say that they're still in a very decent position in the 8th place, as they're definitely outbraking themselves, choosing to go for the runoff. That's not quite the line they want you to drive if you do miss the chicane, but well, he'll make do with that one now. Emo Plate in the background, looking and lurking. He's pointing his headlights towards the rear end of that Topic Racing number 91.
Also seeing, looks like, I think that's Nate Newcomer is caught right up to the back of Jean in the 543 Porsche very quickly, so I'm wondering what happened.
It's just pace, really. If I'm having a look.
It does look like pace, because I don't see any massive changes in the Porsche's pace, so it looks like Nate's just sent it, gone balls to the wall with his pace, and he's managed to catch up to the back of him. But of course they're being lapped now by Jake Moore, who's kind of interfering with things. With Tavarian right behind Nate Newcomer now in that yellow Lamborghini that you can see in the top. So it's getting close between them, but yeah, Nate Newcomer, he could get the toe from Jake and use the kind of window or door that gets opened to let Jake go through. He could use it to try and pass Jean in for 543 Porsche.
If he can follow through, that's exactly the sort of move that he's currently looking for. As we are moving over to the track side, it's very, very spicy in here into the end of the second sector. We're following Nate Newcomer through here. He's already looking to the outside there for a brief moment. Not any room there, buddy. So he'll probably be overtaken there. Probably also turning things 3 wide in just a hot moment if he decides to go for it. But actually he is going to let Christopher Treveran pass unscathed and just slot on behind, looking to show that he's got the pace to run up at the front here.
That's him going into the pits now, so it'll be interesting to see if he can make the overcut work. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, it's quite interesting going forward so far. There's not been anything massively untoward so far, but yeah, you can see Tavarian and Phil Valley have decided to go into the pits, leaving Jake Moore to keep on going.
Spots the pits this time, looks to break. Yeah, car settles, and I think he's going to dial in this time. It's going to be an interesting one to see if he can actually gain something this time around, if he can improve that sort of pit service time, giving their crew a little spanking in between to get their tires sorted and all in between. As we are seeing Rafael Malo, one of the first cars to go into the pit lane. I think actually Topinka might have been the first to run to the pit lane. Marco Badowski also now into the pit lane as Treveran is moving once again.
Yeah, and he's coming out ahead of the Porsche as well, so he's not about to try and pass the 543 lapped car. So that's good news for him, but it'll be interesting to see if it holds up the 543 Porsche at all, which I highly doubt. But it could happen, and that would mean that their undercut would be ruined compared to Nate Newcomer. But Newcomer's pace is still strong, and he's showing no signs of giving up.
So, couple of driver swaps in here as well. Now, Olivier Curtin piloting that number 58 Lamborghini, definitely still in the fight for the win here. As we're seeing a couple of yellow flags out there on track. It's a bit difficult to follow, but I'm pretty sure that's Mark Speed who's taking it around the outside, and then what a difficult rejoin there, buddy. Almost cashing in with Peter Barley there. Phil Barley.
There's going to be some poo. There's going to be some poo in Pinnisley's pants, I'm sure, going through second Lesmo. But yeah, it's not quite where you want to rejoin, but it's a tough one, and fair play to them for getting back on track without murdering anyone.
That was a tough one for sure. There was hardly any room in between the two when he decided to rejoin. So quick position changes here. RWB Godzilla will temporarily take lead. Not too much screen time for him, not too many fires, just all around decent pace with setting around a 150, best being a 148.9. Very respectable drive so far, but by the looks of it, he'll use that to take the temporary lead of the race here at the moment. But what I want to know, Rick Binnersley in at this point in time, is where Olivier Curtin will come out. Jake Moore now green light, you see it in the top left. That means he's served the pit stop, and that means he's going to be on his way and rolling. He's got a very short exit, but Xerax Etia, now in that Racing Sim Tour Esport 88, will have a very angry Lamborghini up his back, but looks like it's about the same story here. Actually, Curtin and gaining 5/10 in the pit stop, but that's far from enough to make a position change for the lead here.
You know, and he's also just outside the slipstream range, so it's not good. It's not amazing news for him. He's still going to have to fight it out and try and catch up. But yeah, it is what it is, and you can't really change what happens. So it'll be interesting to see if we can see Olivier Curtin catch up to Jake Moore, because he's reasonably close. Yeah. He's not horrendously off, but yeah, we'll see how it goes for them.
Different drivers, different pace. We're going to find out how this goes. Jacob Miletto now taking over the number 13 here and hitting the wheel for that paradigm shift Bentley. A couple of position changes due to the pit lane. For example, McCain hasn't gone to the pit lane yet. Same story for RWB Godzilla, who's probably looking to bring it home to the pit wall this time around.
We've got in P11, 12 and 13, we've got Dan Barnett, it looks like. He's not done his pit stop, so effectively he's battling Simcox for a position that doesn't matter too much to him. It may sound a bit cruel, but given that he's not done his pit stop, he's going to be dropped back about a minute behind Simcox. So ultimately this battle is slightly pointless, but it's still racing, and Barnett has every right to keep on going. And I mean, we see Simcox make a slight error there going through turn 1, and we can see him going around Curva Grande now, but this means that Ian Simcox will have the inside when they go through turn 3. But we'll see how it goes, and yeah, you can see Dan Barnett, he's got the move done and dusted before even getting into the braking zone. But this means that Simcox has been held up slightly and is now going to have to battle madly.
Yeah, and that is exactly another error for the number 25 driver here. We had a fantastic first showing in these first 2 stints by the Golden Oldies car that have been battling with Medley and consorts. So it's very interesting to see how this is going to pan out. Still up at the front, Olivier Curtin closing the distance. Xerax Etia almost a second down on their outlap, but we'll find out more regarding their pace once they come across the line for the second time. Actually, let's jump up to the front. There must have been some sort of mistake as he's actually opening the door there. What happened? Second chicane, he must have lost about, well, 2 seconds or so. Xerax Etia with a big mistake. Let's jump back 30 seconds and have a look. What was up?
Yeah, I am quite curious as to what happened. I think maybe he just dipped a wheel on the exits, or too much curb on the entrance, and yeah, put the rear all kind of sideways. So that's where his pace dips, and that's where you can see the Lamborghini just see the gap, and he tucks in very nicely in front. It looked like there may have been a little kiss from Etier on his ass, but you know, he keeps it clean and still racing.
Well, he just wants us. That's a little way of saying thank you. It's quite a unique one at that. But right now, it looks like he's definitely dropping pace now, going around Jonas Red there. Quick jump for the battle here for P12. We've seen Madley and Simcox going at it. Or rather, we've been keeping our minds busy with this battle. And in the background, it looks like Peter Peck in that number 91. That's the white Ferrari in the backdrop here for this picture. That's another competitor in this fight for position 12. So Godzilla only now into the pits as well. Looks like he'll start rolling in just 1 hot minute. Pretty sure he'll slot back in around P4 once he does. He's now being passed by the 2 leading cars. He's now only getting the move on, and he's dropping back actually to P5, potentially P6 here in that 34 of his.
Yes, fantastic work from these guys. They've got about 5 minutes left on their final stint. That could be possible for these guys. We'll see how it goes. But
Alexander Weech there, taking it straight. That's a chicane there, buddy. Gotta acknowledge that. Gotta get the breaking point right. Maybe also struggling a little bit with the lighting conditions in these 10:30 p.m. just like it is, I think, in the UK right now. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is 10:30.
Aha. Well, it's actually 11:30 in Italy right now. I do know that because I have the CEST on my clock. Locally, there, Peter Peck with a big send.
Oh, very big send. I'm not sure the move was on there, but fair play. He managed to make it stick, and very minimum. But you can see flashing from Simcox. He was not happy about that move whatsoever, which I don't blame him. That was a very optimistic and late move, but yeah, it is what it is, and we'll see if there's any stewarding going on afterwards. But yeah, we can see Jack Camaletto getting right up behind Veach as they go through the Ascari.
It looks like we're just struggling with the car, at least comparatively to Camaletto. Let's jump on board here and have a look on the right hand side of you. Look at that. Is this Monster Energy AMG? Let's see who spots the breaking point better. Looks like it is going to be just on point for both of them, as he definitely outbroke himself there. He even saw that in the third person here. He's now on the inside. Jack Camoletta moves up into 5th.
Good move, very good. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But now Camelotto's in the slipstream. He's actually getting about 2 kph faster. But yeah, I don't think we'll see a move into T1.
So if he gets a breaking point, he didn't actually acknowledge T1 last time around, but apparently once it's not out of the pit lane, he's got it all figured out. Good for him that, but still Alexander Weech dropping into 6th place with that. Up at the front, bit of a mistake there, I would assume. Zarek's Etier in that RST, number 88, was fairly close, about a second, and has dropped a little bit, which means that now there's a third car in the pack. That Bentley is actually for position. That's Phil Varley for you.
Yeah, it's getting close. I mean, Etienne needs to pick it up. He needs to keep pushing and not give up. Just because he's in P2 doesn't mean his race is over. He's still got 30 minutes left on the clock.
Look at the time data.
Pushing, but
Varley is flying here. Purple 3rd sector for him.
Yeah, it looks like Ascari was not a good one for Etienne of the 88 Mercedes, but he's still pushing, and you can still see Sector 1 is comparable. But yeah, Sector 2 and Sector 3, they were not good times for the 88 car, and you can see that from the fact that Phil Varley's gained massively. And he's now caught in the slipstream as well, so Etienne is going to have to do some miracle to try and shake off Phil Varley. He's going to have to find some pace somewhere to try and get outside that slipstream range. And of course, all of this battling, touching the gravel, is going to slow them down and allow Curtin to put away even more.
Yeah, it's a tough compromise in between for these two. It's a quick check. Rafael Maino must have gotten past Tiro 9 Jonen here. Made a mistake in the 92 here. Must have been on the exit, but he managed to catch it. Only lost him time and a track position, but not all that much bothered, as he's now looking to go onto what would be his lap number 47 here. Or the 48th actually? I think that's actually the 48th lap. Back up at the front here with his exit. That's where the Bentley has been gaining so much time, and let's use this opportunity once again, jumping to this actual... let's go to the rear splitter. There we go. Actually, we don't appear to have that one on. Let's actually go to the rear wing then. Yeah, right, because it's the AMG Evo. It's a bug that has already been reported in the tour, that you don't have the front and rear splitter cams.
While this part's been going on, I've also been looking at the pit stop window for the number 4 car. Sorry, the car in P4, the number 114 Ferrari. They're cutting it super close for their final pit stop. You can see Dan Barnett's just dived into the pits, but I have a feeling that we'll see John McCain now also dive into the pits, because his stint time must be over, and yeah, that's him in the pit window now.
Just narrowly, 30 minutes, 15 seconds. I'm assuming that was the sort of 15 seconds you were getting on behind?
Yeah, 30 minutes would be the cutoff point, because they can only do 45-minute stints at a time, so that's 2 hours minus 90 minutes, that's 30 minutes left on the clock, and that would be game over for them. So yeah, we'll see how it goes for those guys and see what happens.
Bit of a rough exit once again here for Zarek's Etienne. He's feeling the pressure from Varley in the background. He's definitely using all the track and then some. Now out of the second less mode, this is going to be an important run. See, not either of the car touching the grass, which means there's a little bit of a slipstream moment here going on. Let's see if he's going to get defensive here as they're heading on towards Ascari. To the inside he goes. Phil Varley side by side has jumped to the heli cam as he's looking to provoke a mistake there, slotting in behind once more. He's still got 30 minutes, and if he wants to go back up to the front, he'd have to get the move done soon, because Olivier Curtin, he's running away with it.
He really is. However, with the pit stop windows over, we can start to finally track who's where, and who's kind of won out. But yeah, Malo and Camaletto, they've done phenomenally well getting into P2, making up 2 positions, but Nate Newcomer, over that pit stop window, he's managed to make up 4 positions just from the pit stops. So that clean air has done wonders for him now that he's in P12.
Yeah, he's jumping a couple of cars there. For example, the 543 and Tarbeck, I think he didn't even have to fight them at all. Just with the way that he's scheduled things in terms of the strategy here. Also, second pit stop was actually just 56 seconds long, which means that there was actually no tire swap there. Because otherwise that would have taken him significantly longer. So he's going to be on 1 tires, but in much cleaner air. If he's looking to fight back for P10, he still has half an hour to do the job.
Yeah, it also looks like John McCain also made up 4 positions during that pit window as well, so he's done a phenomenal job as well. We saw him sitting in P4 moments ago, so before his pit stop. So he's done phenomenal work as well to try and get those 4 positions using the overcuts. And I mean, we always hear about the undercut in Formula 1, but you very rarely hear about the overcut, and yet it's worked out for those 2.
In the pit lane now as well, and I think for a long time, Mike. Well, actually, no, that's just a regular old pit stop. Thank the Lord, the number 68 with a rough race. But yeah, the overcut you've been talking about is one of the tools that are not very widely used at all. So good thing seeing that the Zero Force Racing has got that strategy in their portfolio and is making it work tonight here at Monza. In this round of the RST, it's actually round number 5 for you.
Let's have a look now. It looks like Phil Varley's still trying to attack. And on the 88 car, he's still going for it. 5/10 split them currently going over the line. Sorry, 3/10. Scratch that. And he's still trying to get the suck. They've got a car coming out the pit lane as well, it looks like. So it's a car that's a lap down. Luckily,
yeah, that must be Bull in the 68.
Yeah, no, luckily he gets out of the way before T1, but it looks like he's got a much better run out from turn 1. He got a superb line and superb launch, so he's going to be right on his arse going right away around Curva Grande into Delia Roghi at braking zone. So you can see Etienne holding the inside now. It looks like he's going for the outside, and yeah, he brakes just
very late.
But now he's running over
It's
the
going to be
curves.
to the outside, and the stability of the front engine makes it work for now, but not for all that long. He can be happy that he survived in the way that he did. Now to the outside, a little bit of a nudge there as they rub each other's doors. So they're now heading into the second Lesmo side by side. Still not any way that he's giving up the position right on here, and he actually makes it work around the outside. Hello, Zarex Adja defining new standards when it comes to defense.
Yeah, that wider line is the wider line has actually worked out better for him. But now Phil has got the inside line again for going into Ascari. But it's just Phil's just compromising himself, attacking and attacking and attacking. He needs to choose his moment to go for the move. If you keep attacking, you're just going to compromise yourself and lose time and lose drive. And we're seeing that now. But someone who's not going to be listening to me whatsoever is going to be Malo and Veach, because these guys are in the heat of battle going into what is this called? This is called Della Roggia. Yeah. But yeah, that's them now coming up to the first Lesmo, and you can see Veach covering off the inside nicely, making sure that Malo doesn't take a peek down the inside, and that's them now coming up to the second Lesmo. But you can see that these guys are keeping it on track. They're not using that runoff kind of curve that we've seen Etienne and Phil Varley use consistently.
It's actually maybe something to do with the pace here as well, as we're jumping to the helmet cam here. He's going to have to run to the outside if he so chooses. Not quite, about the same braking point for both of them. So they're now heading to the exit, and he's going to be very low in terms of the RPM. He's probably going to be dropping back despite the slipstream here. Rafael not really finding his way onto the grass there, and he's going to do the gentleman thing and just use the remaining 24 minutes to plan his attack.
You can see a little bit of psychology from Veach there, covering the inside and then darting back to the outside again. But unfortunately that's not paid off for him, because he just didn't have the rear traction to keep the car planted and deliver that power. So you can now see Malo's now up into P5, while Veach just dropped down to P6. But they're evenly matched cars. The only difference between them will be setup and driver ability. And you can see Malo goes back to the outside for turn 1 to to try and get a perfect line all the way through so we can get the perfect launch out as we go around Curva Grande. But yeah, you can already see Veach has dropped back ever so slightly, and it looks like Mallow may have got this position done and dusted.
Yeah, P5 for the Moon 21, and he seems to settle into that spot very well, as we're seeing a bit of a mistake made, and we have to go back 30 seconds to see what happened to Phil Varley here. So he must have somehow lost it into Ascari here. We see the future mirror already telling us he's got a Ferrari in the coming up behind him all the way to the outside here, using the curb as necessary. And he's very close, but that's too much curb. There's big contact to the diffuser there of the number 55 Bentley, and that ruins his chances of making something happen in the fight for P2 here.
Too aggressive, too focused on the driver in front. You can't stare at the guy's ass, no matter how enticing it might be. He will just follow it off the track, or end up in a curve. And yeah, you can see him now. He needs to reset his head and get back into the zone and find the rhythm again, because you can see him there. He's just made a mistake into the first chicane into Rettifio. So we'll see how it goes. But Door's caught up to the back of Mertens, it looks like, in that 175 Mercedes with the 917 Lexus. So this guy, they're not the same class, but they are in the same lap, and it is for position. So who cares? Let's watch this battle. It should be a good one.
It's going to be a quick one if he continues like this. Door making the move around the outside here potentially. Wow, that would have been mighty fine, but he'll have to slot back into it and give it another try here. These two are very well matched, and we saw how defensive actually Simon Martins got there into the run of Parabolica, because he was very much aware of the Lexus, trying to potentially send it now to the outside. He goes. Door trying to get something down into T1, very late braking to the curb, no contact, and well executed there by the Lexus driver.
Not often you see that. That was phenomenal, like spatial awareness from both drivers not to touch each other going through that one line corner. But Thor had a 10-kilometer pace advantage as soon as he hit the brakes, so that slipstream was so powerful for him, which allowed him to make that move done. And you can see him now covering off perfectly Mertens. So phenomenal job from Dor getting that job done, and phenomenal job from Mertens keeping it clean and not doing anything reckless.
Clean, great racing, fantastic moves, and both of these drivers will be applauding each other for getting it done at the end of this race. Fantastic driving. Let's use this opportunity. 20 minutes to go down the order. Do you want to go ahead and take it, or should I? Or shall I?
Well, I'll let you do it this time.
Alright then, so Olivia Curtin here trying to hide from our views. It's the smoked and salmon fries that leads the race here. Would be a fantastic result for the number 58 Lamborghini, who did well in qualif, started second here in the race. Then Zerex Antia not too far behind, about 6 seconds separating the number 88 here from the lead of the race. They've done very well, but in the final stint here, they've been dropping back a little bit. This battle continues, however, and it's brewing hot up at the front here, where the AMG chases Lambo. Then third position goes to Phil Varley, who's now looking to reduce that 5-second gap to Atia ahead, and it looks like he's doing so quite well, but he'll have a very difficult job getting it done, because that's not too much time he's left. Fourth place right now belonging to the paradigm shift of Jack Camoletto. Now fifth position right on here. You see it center of screen. That's the Moon 21 cruising through the second chicane. That's Rafael Malo for you. Alexander Weech there in the background. That's the RWB Monster Energy AMG, where that Audi right on there is Turo Knight, Jonan's vehicle of choice tonight. John McCain is a little further behind, about 7 seconds. That is going to be this number 114 Ferrari, the Zero Force Racing driver, going by the name of John McCain. Last time around a 50.1, which means that this fake taxi lad here is cruising at about a very different altitude. He's 1.5 seconds quicker, which means that could be a battle for P5 in no more than 5 minutes time here. Peter Peck following the Top Peck Racing number 91, and then it's gonna be Ian Simcox, as well as a very very feisty looking number 97, super close in the toe here, and bit of a moment for both of them there. It's Nate Newcomer here and the Omen Racing number 97, chasing for position 11 here. Matt Tarbuck is the Nigel Mansell number 5 pilot. That's the Lexus right on there. RWB Pinpoint is the first and only Porsche on the grid. That's the 543 for you tonight. RWB Tyrion in that Smug Crew Ferrari, trying to blend in with the environment. Very dark livery he's got himself going on. Just quick interruption here as we're seeing that Nate Newcomer might have an opportunity here before we go back to RWB Taz there. He's just narrowly pulling ahead before virtually being punted and shunted, but he gets it done and moves into 11th. So Nate Newcomer with another spot gained. So back to the Suffolk leg ends of that of Taz right on there. That's the number 4 car. As I'm changing the cameras too early, should have known, should have considered, but regardless of that, we're seeing the Toughnut Esports. It's the first car in the AM class. It's the number 15 driver Robert de Vries for you here tonight, ahead of Dor, who's gotten some beautiful moves earlier before against Mertens, who's fallen back a little bit. That's Simon Mertens in position 18 at the moment. There must have been someone falling back. Apparently that's actually Dor, who has dropped the position once again. So he's once again up in chase. Then Mike Bull 20th for you at the moment. That damage is from a previous stint where Mark Speed and RWB Charger have already retired their races respectively.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Charger and for Max Speed. It's not the end you want. You always want to get it to the end. But yeah, Nate Newcomer nearly getting pit maneuvered by Simcox's late braking, and I don't know how those two stayed alive. Phenomenal bit of racing between those two. But yeah, I have to agree, of course. For me, Nate Newcomer's been driver of the race for me so far. He's the pace difference. He's just been clawing back places ever since he got into the car. So phenomenal drive. But yeah, we can't discount Olivier Curtin though, and Etienne and Phil Varley for Lambo, Merck and Bentley up in P123. Those guys have been batting it out massively and exchanging places throughout the race.
They've been doing just fine. I mean, they've been at pace. They've shown us their best, and throughout all these different stints, it hasn't been one moment where they got the opportunity to just breathe through. They've been at the edge of their seats, not just figuratively, I think.
Yeah, but
you're right there,
so
mate.
close, but yeah, I'm
Robert
it's
de
been
Vries.
a very long day, but I feel like it's also been the same for Robert de Vries, who goes off track. He seems to. Oh, we're seeing a McLaren going off track as well with Taz. It looks like in the number 4 McLaren. So yeah, I think everyone's kind of reaching the same bit of fatigue as I am. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal job. But yeah, it's still incredible to see these guys still fighting all the way through to the end. I mean, we had Charger in earlier, and he was saying that Monza's his favourite track. And for me, I'm never a fan of Monza, but I just don't get how the racing's always exciting at Monza. Like even in Formula 1, I just don't get it. I don't know how it produces such great racing all the way to the end.
Well, obviously you do have just raw pace. You have so few corners, and then the straight line from the different engines. You're gonna be on low downforce, which means there's a high risk of getting yourself involved in some sort of incident or getting yourself outbreak. And yeah, I would say that while just driving there on your own, it's just fun until you've basically gotten enough practice and perfected the corners your way you want them to, and then after that you just have to hope that you have some other cars that are on your similar pace. And by the looks of it, that's exactly what we've got on our hands here tonight, and that's the reason I would say to hopefully not to ruin the illusion too much. Magical Monza. It's a very fantastic track, and it's probably the main reason why it's been in fashion for as long as it has been.
Yeah, I mean, it opened up in the 50s, 60s. Like it's been around.
seeing a bit of a moment there. I'm pretty sure that was a different Ferrari there, yeah. That must have been John McCain there taking the runoff quite liberally. But yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, I just did a quick Google. It's actually Monza was built in 1922. So it's
Really?
coming up for 100 years old. So I guess you can see why it's still raced on. If it's managed to survive 100 years, then fair play. But that looks like it's De Vries getting moved on the inside, going through Parabolica, and taking a position back from Taz that he lost earlier on, going through Ascari.
Maybe where the track might be this old, but is it this track or was it like the old variant, which was just like driving on a straight line with like 3 chicanes for an hour or so, or per lap? Because there was like the super old ring variant, wasn't there?
Yeah, so you can actually still see the old ring variant on Google Maps if you go and have a look. In fact, more of the banking goes over the track as it heads to Ascari, so that little bridge is actually some of that.
Let's actually go back 60 seconds just briefly here. I think we missed how Turner and John had a bit of a moment. He was 7th. You see it right on there, and either this has already happened or this is on the exit for Ascari. We might have a bit of a moment. Yeah, that looks like very much of a moment. And with a big collision to the wall, he's finding himself spun around, and that's going to cost him 2 positions. Definitely unsettle his Saturday evening a little bit.
Yeah, basically the high-speed oval, that was done in 1954, and that's when we ended up with that massive loop that you can see. In fact, yeah, it's a really weird track actually. Whenever you look at it, like the old track maps, it's so weird. It looks almost like a rudimentary figure of 8. But yeah, no, the track's been around for donkey's years, and it was constructed by 3,000 plus workers in 1922. So it's properly old. It's been around for quite a while. So yeah, it's an impressive track.
I mean, that's 3,000 workers. I don't know how many they have going, like in terms of reparations and perhaps building a track nowadays. For example, if you were to recreate, say, the Nordschleife, how many workers would you hire for that? I honestly wouldn't know, even though
Oh, I just got my mate Dave, and
yeah, Dave's gonna do that
on his little asphalt roller, and he'll do it in like 2 hours probably with modern tech. But back then, yeah, it took them 3 months with 3,500 workers to build the original track. So it's phenomenal how crazy stuff's come along. But yeah, you can see the Ferrari getting a little bit impatient and diving down the inside, and that's not quite what we want from Peter Peck. That's not quite the move that you're supposed to do.
Looks like he's gonna keep it as well, and that leaves Nate Jordan absolutely biting the wheel.
For the Audi. Yeah, it looks like he's getting impatient with the blue flags cars, who he nearly cuts off. the fake taxi Merc's like, fuck off, mate.
That's actually Medley gaining the position because of that. So Peck dropping back to the end of the pack here. Get it? The end of the pack? Alright. Let's see myself out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there. That's not quite the racing that I want to see, but yeah, it is what it is, and that's I think that might be a steward thing at the end. But yeah, very, very interesting. But unfortunately, yeah, that's meant Peter Peck has lost 2 positions effectively from that.
Yep, it's quite easy to perhaps, while giving back the time gained, it can happen that you're giving a bit too much, really. And while it's a gentleman and the right thing to do, because he did certainly gain quite significantly in terms of the time right on that. This means he'll be basically in the middle here, where the car number 175, that's actually Mertens there, Simon Mertens in the AMG, has been showing decent pace and therefore is somewhat caught in the middle of all this.
He's doing well. Mountains is starting to pick up the pace as well. Unfortunately, last lap, that was kind of, with all the traffic, he dropped pace a little bit, but so did all of them. All of those guys. I mean, Peter Peck dropped about 2 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds from his original pace, so that's not ideal. But he's still on a hunt, and we've still got these guys trying to catch up to Lyonen and for number 92 Audi, trying to get P8.
Exactly that. He has P10, but he doesn't seem content with that at all. As he's taking a little liberty on the line there too in the fake taxi. That probably was one of the final warnings. No drive-throughs so far, so good. But chances are this is, in the last 8 minutes, going to come down to the wire in this fight for P8.
Yeah, it is what it is. You have to be careful with the track cuts, as we see Peter Peck get a phenomenal drive through the second Lesmo, heading now underneath the bridge. That is the old ring there that you can see, and that's now heading on to Ascari. You've got Madley with the inside line, braking just a little bit late. They're getting side by side, but it looks like Peter Peck has got the move done before they get into the second part of Ascari.
Well, that's going to leave him traumatized, because that was just one little mistake, which was enough for him to snag the position out of the hands of Madley in the 33 here. So that means Peter Peck up into 9th after dropping quite significantly earlier. He's found himself figured out again. Bit of a moment for Taz there. He came across the line. I'll have a quick look what happened there, perhaps in the replay as well. It was in the last sector. So Taz, looks like it must have been something. Yeah, last sector. He's lost about 12 seconds there. It's definitely rough, but we can't tune away from this battle. Is here seeing the runoff being used once again to avoid any sort of contact between Madley and you know, it's your favorite runoff abuser. That's Peter Peck. Is he got to drive-through throw that?
That is a drive-through, yeah, for track limits. So he's going to have to serve that in the next 3 laps, or it becomes a hefty time penalty. I think it's 150 seconds, so it's not even worth ignoring a drive-through around this track. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, track limits are track limits. Everyone's dealt the same hand, and yeah, interesting to see Taz's line though when he was letting everyone through. Very interesting line, but
actually
at least did it safely and everyone got through.
Yeah, I think Mertens actually got past there, gaining the position on him because of this sort of evasive way of letting all these cars ahead go through. So a quick run up with the front here, where we're seeing Kitten has gotten himself a comfortable 9-second gap to Vardis. We see to my Jordan. That's gonna be a disaster spared for him as he does the little donut that we didn't want to see this early in the race. Oh, rough one. Let's go back 30 seconds and have a look on board what happened there, because Jordan was on the edge of traction there, that's for sure.
I reckon he's gone over one of the sleeping policemen, one of the bumps, because the Audi does not deal with curbs or bumps or anything like that. It loves smooth tarmac, and yep. Yeah, you can see it right there. He's smacked the bumps, and the Audi just hates it. The suspension just does not work on that car.
No, it's something you can try to get right with the setup, but to be frank with you, it's exactly that sort of weakness which can ruin your race. And in this case, it's been long enough so that Jordan doesn't drop back all that far, but Turo will be fuming. He just let go of the gas quite early, which resulted in him taking that inside line super quick and basically just shedding on to the curb where he absolutely didn't want to be.
Yeah, luckily for him, he'll get that position back. He'll get 1 position, so he's only lost 1 position so far. But he does have Nate Newcomer, who is on the hunt for he's on the hunt for that P10 position, because I think he thinks he deserves it after his phenomenal stints that he's had so far.
Exactly right. To have to agree with you on that one. We'll come back to this. Did something happen? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
It was like a loud... sounded like a gunshot, but like not loud enough to be one. That was really weird.
It was
Don't know if
probably
you
me
heard it
sitting
on
down.
stream. That got me all out of shape there for just a brief moment. So yeah, I was following up on Phil Varley in the Grumpy Bastards racing, who was 5 seconds back and cut that down to about 2.8 at this point in time. So there is still a slim chance he'll be making a move into P2 as long as he can keep up the pace, which Zarek Atia at the moment just can't quite follow. I wonder what that was. It's like someone clapping, but all of the sounds stopped at the same time.
I just heard I just went back to try and see if I could hear the gunshot, and I did. So I'm not sure where that's come from. Yeah, we're still here and we're still
Are
going.
we in
So
danger?
I hope not.
I hope not either.
I'm hoping it's from your mic and not from mine. But yeah, we'll keep going and see if it happens again.
Here we go then. Nick Newcomb on the number 97. 7 tenths is the gap that he has to close, and the tires from the number 92 ahead will be at their absolute limit and past, because he did have that the spin early on, and he's just now trying to hold on to that position 9, considering that Peter Pack will fall back once he serves the drive-through penalty he's got at hand.
Yeah, the drive-through just isn't what they need or want. It's so unfortunate, but yeah, it is what it is, and they have to deal with it, unfortunately.
Now, the thing I have to say is, it was in T1, and he knew what was going to happen when he just came across that and really didn't slow down much at all. He just took it into consideration that could happen, and at the end of a 2-hour race, all that you've worked for so long just vanishing into this super devastating. But it's exactly within the driver's ability to judge that and to make the call whether or not you're going to slow down to avoid the penalty, which he didn't. So he'll be coming into the pit lane now and dropping potentially to P14 here, but we're going to find out what happens next, because Nate Newcomer certainly is in the tow of Nate Jonan for P10 here, for P9 actually, sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what happened with that T1. Everyone knows if you run over, like you go through that, you have to slow down. But it's good news for Newcomer, and Lyonen's kind of mistake isn't cost him that much. But he is under pressure from Newcomer, who's closed the gap up massively.
Yep, so Peter Peck now, after serving the drive-through, into P13 in the end. Well, we're turning our attention now back up to the front. I want to have a quick check where the number 85 is on the track map right now, because there isn't all that much time. Looks like he's currently... well, this could be tight if there's actually another lap or not, with 40 seconds in the race still. It's very much the opportunity to have another lap extension, which would certainly play into the hands of the number 97 Oman Racing, piloted by Nate Newcomer at the moment.
Yeah, I'm also having a look. I think it's kind of very close, if he can make it. But I mean, yeah, I think it's going to be a matter of seconds rather than tens of seconds. So it's going to kind of get very close. He's coming around Parabolic, and now
we'll have to look at the background here as well.
I don't think
it's gonna be it. It's gonna be a checkered flag here. Oliver Curtin in the smoked salmon and fries after a botched pit stop in the first stint. They've come back to retaliate. They're taking the checkered flag in position number 1. And it is gonna be it. Right on the round. Oh, actually, a 1/32 plus. I'm not sure what happened there for
that must be for stint times.
Yeah,
that must
could have been, certainly. So Zarek's Etja here, finishing second position. He was able to hold on after the mistake of position 3, finishing Phil Varley. Very good drive by that number 55 regardless. Fourth position is gonna go to Jack Carmoletto here as well, but Nate Newcomer will be dropping back significantly. We already have a couple of finishes quite close between Tarbuck and Peck as well in the fight for position 12 here. But Curtin finishing first, well deserved.
Yeah, fantastic drive from them. I mean, the strategy calls for the top 3 guys have been so close, and at the end of the day, it worked out for Curtin in terms of navigating the traffic and making the overcuts and undercuts work for him. So, fantastic job from him, but we've still got Camletto to cross the line now, and that's him in P4. It looks like Mallow is comfortably in P5 with a 20-second gap to Veach, who's in P6, and John McCain will follow for P7, Madley in P8, Nayon in P9, and newcomer in P10. But unfortunately, with that 150-second penalty, which after such a phenomenal drive that's not what we wanted to see.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate finish for them. Not sure if they'll get cleared by the stewards if there was a mistake, or if that is actually the penalty being applied. So RWB Monster Energy, they've had a good run throughout the season in that 34 of theirs. Chances are tonight they're not super happy, finishing 6th position, which isn't 100% representative of what the AMG can do. McCain in 7th, we already mentioned that just briefly as we are wrapping up this race here. Wonderful stuff around Monza, and Curtin finishing up at the front. That's very nice to see.
Yeah, the race has been great all the way through. I mean, we've had some phenomenal drives, some phenomenal moves. We've had action all the way through. I mean, we had that phenomenal driving in lap 1 where we only had 2 cars actually go off the track. So for Monza, I mean, you go into a public lobby and it's normally only 2 cars survive lap 1. So phenomenal job from everyone actually getting through it. And maybe the stewards kind of went, you know what, guys, it is Monza. Let's not do anything stupid, and let's make it a clean Monza for once. Show that it is actually possible, and they've done it. Phenomenal driving and clean driving all the way through.
Yeah, great to see. Great to commentate on it as well. These drivers giving their all. Perhaps we can get Curtin. I see them on the Discord right now. Let's see if Tverin is also there. Maybe we can get them in for a brief interview if they have the time of day. But to just follow up on what you said, it's not often you see a race so clean, very, very spatially aware drivers. They've definitely put in some practice here tonight, and it's wonderful to see how close all of this went down. Wonderful broadcast here with you as well. I have to say, Josh, it's the first stint certainly a fantastic one. It's got to go into the books, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'll come up with some other weird phrases for next time. Write a list for you.
Wonderful. Right, I think otherwise then we are going to wrap things up here. So Curtin and Verbaran, that's the Lamborghini 58, finishing in first ahead of the 88 of Etia and more. They're going to be very happy with that because they are also that qualified in first, looking to score some more championship points. Phil Varley, leading the championship right now in that 55. Bentley finished 3rd position, so that's certainly going to narrow things down at the front end, where Dor and Emo Plate didn't quite have the run. They finished 16th despite their 2nd position in the championship, so definitely expect a shuffle up at the front in RST. This has been the Endurance Series, round number 5 at Monza. My name's Niklas Kraus. Joining us here is the wonderful, the one and only, the magnificent Josh here tonight. I hope you had a blast, because I did absolutely. I'll see you around next time. No Tuesday's broadcast for the Constructors Championship, because that is done and dusted. We'll probably see each other Saturday. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Yeah, cheers.